Aaron, the challenge of facing a Braves team that could just explode almost at any point during the game, how much of a challenge is that for any pitcher? And the fact that you guys know each other, does familiarity help, or it just comes down to a matter of execution?
Yeah, you said it's a matter of execution. We're very familiar with each other, played each other a lot of games, a lot of times. So it just comes down to execution for a pitcher side, executing our pitches, especially when we need to. And when guys are on base, it's a good hitting team, 1 through 9. So we know how good they are, and it's obviously not going to be an easy one, but we gotta battle, and I know we will, and just gotta compete as best as we can.
Second row on the left, Todd.
Aaron, you've been on flights after bad losses, tough losses, wondering how last night's flight home might have compared to those, and what's the team's mindset, you think, coming into today?
Good. It's good to be back home. Obviously, it was a tough loss last night, and it's a heartbreaking one. They made a good play at the end. Harris made a really good play, and then thought Cassie actually got that ball out. But definitely a heartbreaking one, but we got another chance, right? We're 1-1. It's good to split over there, come back home, and hopefully get one tomorrow.
Can you explain how you guys can get that out of your mind so game 3 you guys come in clear-headed, I guess, and not lingering from that?
Yeah, off day helps for sure. It's a new day. I mean, we got to forget about that. We got to have a short memory about that one. To try to take the positives away from that series, or those 2 games over in Atlanta, and it's just good to be back home against our home crowd, and we got 3 games left to do something, so we just got to take it game by game. It's going to be a tough one, but it starts tomorrow, and just take it pitch by pitch.
We'll go to the back row on the left.
Hey, Aaron, Kyle is not your typical leadoff hitter. It doesn't have that type of skill set. What makes him so good out of that spot, and what would the effect of having somebody who could pop 47 home runs leading off a game do for a pitcher?
I love it. I mean, how many times have you seen him hit a leadoff home run? I mean, we're up 1-0 then, right? Yeah, he's not a guy who gets on and steals bags and stuff like that, but he can hit the ball out any time, and I think that's tough for a pitcher, especially to lead off a game. And he's super selective at the plate. So, yeah, I feel like you don't really see that too often. A guy has almost 50 home runs as a leadoff spot, 100 RBIs, 100 runs, 100 walks. It's pretty cool to see, and a guy that disciplined at the plate.
Here on the right, Tyler.
Aaron, I know I think the Phillies are 8-2 at this ballpark in the postseason the last couple of years. What is that? How would you describe home field advantage? Does it make players play better? What do you gain from that being at home?
I think we gain a lot. I think we have the best home field advantage in the league. I think our crowd's the rowdiest, and we love playing in front of that. And I feel like it is tough sometimes for opposing teams to play in this stadium, but we like it a lot. We feed off of it, and the fans are in it from pitch number 1 until the very end, which is pretty special.
Fourth row on the left.
Aaron, I want to ask you about the rivalry. Most people think Philly, New York, but is this kind of heightened things with 2 playoff series in a row and last night's game? Do a lot of family and friends just, you got to beat the Braves, it's about the Braves all year long kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a tough squad. I mean, they've won a division 6 years in a row, and yeah, it's pretty cool to match up with them again in the ALDS for the 2nd year in a row. I just got two really good clubs going against each other, and obviously tied 1-1 right now going into game 3. So it's pretty cool. For us, I feel like we want to face really good competition, right? I mean, everybody's good competition this time of year, but the Braves are exceptionally good, and we know that. So I feel like we usually play them pretty good, and it's always a fun series.
Here in the front.
Aaron, the first 2 games in the NLDS last season transpired differently, but you guys took the first one last year. They took the second one. What can you draw from that heading into tomorrow to try to bounce back?
There's always a chance. All right, we got game 3. There's another chance for us to take a win, but we gotta take it pitch by pitch. I mean, last year it was fun, but it's out the window. We got to forget about that one, and this is a new year. So I mean, you can't expect things to just happen the same exact way as last year, because this is a new season and a new year. But yeah, we want to look to take tomorrow's game, but we got to focus from pitch number 1.
4th row on the aisle.
Aaron, there was a lot of talk this year about you and the pitch clock. In your last start, runners on first and second, 1 out in the 5th. JT came out, had a long mound visit, and then after the first pitch, Sanchez called a timeout. Was that any kind of a turning point in your mind?
Not really. I think he called timeout because he thought that pitch was a ball, if I remember. But yeah, for sure. Obviously, the pitch clock took the pitchers, and I think a lot of guys time to adjust to over the course of the season, and especially in playoff game. Obviously, everything's a little bit more heightened, and the stakes are a little bit higher than the regular season. So I feel like the more time we get, the better, especially in big situations with guys on base, and you need a ground ball or something to get out the inning. But we were lucky enough to get that ground ball and get that double play.
3rd row on the left.
Aaron, obviously different approach than Zach, and you've, like we talked about earlier, you know these guys pretty well already. But is there anything you can take from watching the first 2 games as to how you guys have approached their hitters? Anything you've seen or that you'll build off on that, or are you just relying on your own game planning?
Yeah, just got to get ahead. I mean, they're obviously going to have a different approach to me than they do Wheels. Wheels did great last night. Dominant again against those guys. I mean, that's what he does against a lot of teams. But I think it comes down to trying to get strike 1 against these guys and getting ahead and staying ahead.
4th row on the aisle.
Aaron, yeah, the crowd is such a storyline, and it's like a national thing, and everybody knows what tomorrow is going to sound like and feel like. But a year ago, you didn't really know that it was going to be nuts, and then it was the game that you pitched that was crazy. Just, were you surprised a year ago? Now you not take it for granted, but you know what it's going to feel like. Were you surprised a year ago, or maybe didn't know what it was going to be like?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I saw videos, right? But obviously never experienced it until we finally did last year. But it's kind of addicting being out there in front of our fan base over here, and to feel the electricity. It just kind of heightens every pitch, and it's fun to be in the moment here.
On the right here, Tyler.
Aaron, you've had a couple of really good starts against Atlanta, one that didn't go your way. When you're on your game against the Braves, what are you doing, and what's the particular challenge of a lineup so deep?
I just commanding the ball, like I said, getting ahead and staying ahead, and trying to eliminate big innings. I feel like any one of their guys can hit home runs at any time, and they're pretty fast on the bases too. So anytime we can try to eliminate the big inning and just to try to get them out early. I mean, they're a team that can spoil some pitches on you and work good at bats. So all comes down to just execution and just try to get them out anyway.
We'll take our last question here on the left in the back.
Sort of a follow-up to that. They're, like Tyler said, big home run hitting team. If someone hadn't watched your starts and just saw you gave up, this amount of home runs, would you say you made some bad pitches? How would you describe some of the home runs you gave up? A few too many in your mind, or they hit pitchers' pitches, hitters' pitches? How would you describe it?
I mean, I feel like some of the pitches I made were good that they hit out, but I feel like the home runs for myself and that you see all the time that guys hit the ball at the ballpark are pretty good pitches for them. I don't know how many were solos and how many were with guys on base, but solos are a different story than with guys on base. So obviously the ones with 1-2 guys on base, a little bit tougher to swallow. It wasn't my best year from eliminating the home run. But, I mean, the regular season's done with now. We're in the postseason, and I forgot about that. And anytime we can keep the ball in the ballpark's good.
Great. Thanks so much, Aaron.
Thank you, guys.
Rob Thomson will join us shortly. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with Rob here. First question in the back.
Rob, your team has been a team that's always been able to kind of put the previous game out of their mind and move on since you've taken over, maybe even this year and last year. How much does that help, especially after a tough game, too?
Yeah, it's huge. We've done that a lot. And as I've said many times, this is a tough team, resilient team. Day off helps, too. Clear your mind. But I expect nothing less than these guys coming in here tomorrow and getting after it.
Next question. Go to the middle here.
Rob, obviously the focus on Bryce last night, put that aside, just base running. The first month of the year, there was so much talk over you being too aggressive and making too many outs on the bases, and you said it was about finding the balance of being aggressive and pushing the issue. How do you feel like your team's done that the last couple months, really, and then so far in the playoffs, creating extra runs by being aggressive and taking advantage of opportunities?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job. We've stolen a lot of bases. We've taken a lot of extra bases, put pressure on people. That's what you need to do in the playoffs, and you can't be silly. But I think we've done a good job taking advantage of that. You know, Harp last night just clearly thought the ball was going to be over Harris's head, and he took a shot to score, and Harris made a heck of a play. So, you know, we move on.
Last row on the left.
Hey, Rob. Hey, how does Kyle Schwarber impact your lineup at the top of the order? And because he's not a prototypical leadoff man, but he still gets on base. Like, what does the power at the top of the lineup do for your lineup?
Couple things. Well, yeah, he does get on base. So, you know, the walks, the on base, the slug. He can impact the game from pitch one and give us the lead, 1-0. He's done that many times this year. What he also does is, as we turn the lineup over, because we got a long lineup, so guys at the end of the lineup, they get on base. Now we've got this power threat coming. So he's not only has he scored a lot of runs, but he's created a lot of runs. And I think, yeah, he's not the Ricky Henderson typical leadoff guy, but he's so effective in that spot.
Fourth row on the left. Scott?
Rob, in the eighth inning last night, you know, you obviously started that inning with Alvarado because you wanted the left on left. I'm wondering, in a one-run game, what made you confident with Hoffman against that pocket of Acuna, Albies, and Riley instead of any of the other righties that you have a choice of out there? What made it Hoffman for you?
Just his stuff, the high velocity, the slider, the split on the lefty. You know, he tried to run a two-seam in on Acuna and got hit by pitch. Made a great pitch on Albies to get an easy out. And then just hung a slider. And Riley's strong enough to one-hand it over left field fence. So, you know, tip of cap to them. But I thought that was the right spot for him.
Are those decisions a little bit more complicated this year because you have so many options out there? You could, you know, the night before Sir Anthony struck out Acuna and Riley, and, you know, you've got Kerkering as a weapon out there. Are those decisions even more difficult to make sometimes just because of how many guys you could go to?
Well, that would be a good problem to have, you know, to have that many people out there. But, you know, we meet, pitching coaches, Mike Calitri, Dusty Wathan, and I, we meet before every game, and we talk about their lineup and our guys and what pockets we want to attack. And, you know, that was the spot that we thought Hoffman was going to be most effective in.
On the right here, Tyler.
Rob, when you see Aaron Nola pitch, what are the indicators that he's going to be the best version of Nola? And what have you seen the last three starts where he's really been, you know, consistent after a year of kind of inconsistency?
Yeah, I think it's the command of his fastball. When he can get the fastball to his glove side, I think that's an indication. soft contact's an indication. Just the quality of the breaking ball and the use of the changeup. Those are things that he does when he's going good that makes him very effective.
On the left here.
Rob, they haven't announced a starter yet for tomorrow. Does that complicate anything for you guys at all?
Not at all. I'm assuming it's going to be a right-handers.
In the front row.
Rob, the 4 hours of hell, 3 hours of hell, as you put it, last series, what did you think of it in the two Marlins games, and how critical is that to the next two games?
I think it's super critical. And our fan base is the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. And they can create a lot of energy for our guys. And there are times when they can intimidate other people. So we love playing in front of them, for sure. So it's a big part of our club.
Todd on the left.
Is Ranger going to start Game 4?
Don't know yet. I'll announce after tomorrow night's game.
So it depends on what happens tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you guys hear, is that filtered through the clubhouse, the team? Arcia, after the game last night, apparently was running around the clubhouse saying, haha, attaboy Bryce. Does that motivate you guys at all?
Really, I don't think anybody needs any motivation right now. But if that adds to our motivation, that's great.
On the left here.
Follow up on the base running thing earlier. Just last night alone, Castellanos steals second, takes third on the error, scores on a sac fly. Acuna goes third to home. How important is just even one extra base in a playoff series, especially one like this where it's going to be this close?
Yeah, it can be super important, Acuna steals third base there. Does that affect the breaking ball? He doesn't want to spike it, doesn't want to, so it happens. So I think getting extra bases is critical, getting in scoring position, going to first to third, getting a dirt ball read. We've been doing a lot of good things with that.
On the left.
Rob, as rivalries go, if Red Sox-Yankees is a 10, where are we with Braves-Phillies? Do we need some bulletin board material? Where are we with this?
Today, it's 10.
In general, the last couple of years.
Today, it's 10.
On the right here, last question, Tyler.
Yeah, Rob, we see around baseball, a lot of times home field advantage makes no difference. I mean, Arizona went on the road and, they've won. It happens all the time. But here it seems like it does. What is different about Philadelphia in the postseason? And when you did lose a couple games at home last year in the World Series, was that shocking?
Well, it wasn't necessarily shocking because we were playing a pretty good club, and who's been there before. But I think that we play our best baseball at home, whether it's playoff baseball or regular season baseball. So I think guys are comfortable here. I think they love playing in front of our fans, and I think it gives us an edge.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. That concludes our press conference room for today. We'll do our best to get a schedule out to you for tomorrow at some point. Thank you.